Hey everyone, can you all hear me? Yeah? Okay. We are all here to mourn the loss of a fellow Leland alum. Now, tonight could easily turn into an argument about gun laws, mental health issues, God knows what else. But that's not why we're here. We are all here in the name of our friend, George Chen. Now, I don't claim to be George's good friend. I talked with him many times throughout the years, but never a conversation that led to a full-fledged, bro friendship. But having known George since elementary school, I feel comfortable saying that I did know George for him as a person and for his impact on those around him. I had a number of classes with George throughout elementary school. For those who knew him during high school, they would be surprised to know that he was constantly getting in trouble. He would talk in class, do silly stuff that made the rest of us giggle, and he disrupted the class more than any teacher could bear. I swear, you would run out of fingers and toes to count on if you tried counting the times he would get told off in class. Fourth grade, in particular, was the funniest. I can still hear Mrs. Baker, our teacher, reprimanding him for one thing or another. But George wasn't in getting in trouble because he was a bad kid. He was not unlike a curious little monkey that shares his name. He was always inquisitive, brimming with excitement as each day unfolded. One day in particular stands out in my mind as the epitome of the George that I grew up with, and I really hope I'm not the only one here that remembers this. It was a hot, sunny May day, and we were all sent out to recess. I was standing in the hallways of Simon's Elementary School to avoid my inevitable sunburn. With all of us fourth graders waiting in line for the water fountain, chaos erupted as the water fountain did the same. Every time we would press the button, water would shoot 20 feet into the air. Most of us knew not to go play with the button, but George's curiosity got the better of him. He would run up, touch the button, and would skip away giggling the whole time, dancing in the water as it rained down upon him. This continued for maybe 5 minutes or so until one of the teachers came to him to put an end to the silliness. During lunch, we all rushed out of the cafeteria to play kickball on the blacktop. But much to everyone's chagrin, the janitor was still in the process of fixing the water fountain. One could hear the collective sighs and mutterings of the kids as we knew we wouldn't be able to hydrate ourselves during our game. Until we looked over to the water fountain, spraying more than ever before, with the janitor kneeling, fixing the pipes, and George jumping around in the water. I went to a different middle school than George, but we reconvened in high school, and I noticed almost immediately that he had calmed down quite a bit. He wasn't the George that I had known in elementary school. In class, he wouldn't talk out loud. He didn't do the silly things that he would do before, and he wouldn't even disrupt so much as the person sitting right next to him. This came as a shock to me. It wasn't the George I had known. Until one day, in one of the many math classes I had with him over the years, I should say, I looked at him. I just sort of stared at him for a second. The George I knew was still there. George was still George. He was sitting there, as Mrs. Sarkar said earlier, with an innocent little smile, and you could see the curiosity at work inside his mind as he understood and was questioning what he was being taught. George was a victim of his own happiness and his own kindness. There was not a mean bone in his body. This vigil tonight is proof of the kindness he showed us. And that is how I want to remember George. How I want all of us to remember George. I want us to celebrate the moments we had with him, to celebrate his unwavering kindness. And as we light our candles tonight, remember George as he would light up our lives. Thank you.